Hello. Welcome to
Monday with the Mavens.
Today we are talking all about rest and recovery and the parasympathetic nervous system and what that does for you and how it affects your health, your physical health, your mental health, all the things.
We're also going to be getting into doing hard things and how does that affect our health also, because the two, while different, oftentimes work hand in hand.
Kind of like black and white.
What? Yeah.
Oh, happy Monday, you guys.
Yeah.
My goodness. We're here, we are. Like,
Yep,
how did a whole week go by?
Well, it did it quickly. Let's just say that.
You know what? Between now and a week from now, good things are going to happen.
I believe it.
It's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, ma'am.
You should join us in. You should join on in with us in believing that.
Yeah.
Man.
There's just goodness to come. Lots and lots of goodness, you guys.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a lot to talk about today. We did have a couple questions on our question box that came in that maybe we should tackle first before we jump into all things rest, recovery, and then discomfort, which is kind of on the other side of that.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so somebody just wrote in, how do you, I guess before we jump into that, first of all, thank you guys so much for being here. We know the large majority of people watch this after the fact. We're looking back and forth. We have Facebook, we have Instagram.
I have not forgotten that one of my New Year's resolutions is to figure out how to stream this on one device at one time, and it will happen. I haven't put forth any time
We've done
or effort.
other things.
Yeah, we are busy.
We're busy people.
Yeah, we got stuff going on, you guys.
We're supporting our clients. However, if you guys have any questions along the way, whether it's on topic or off topic, please feel free to use the question box, or I guess the comment box.
We don't have a question box.
Join in on the discussion. Also, we'll mention some tools and we'll put them in the show notes. I just like saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the questions that came in just a few minutes ago actually was, how do you explain the macro journey to a skeptical family member? I love that question.
Such a good one.
Yep. Do you want to tackle it or do you want me to?
Well, I'll say my piece and then I know you will too. So
Sounds good.
I think that if you approach anything nutrition based with you're just trying to learn how to fuel your body and feel your best, people can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, we all just want to feel our best. Yeah. And you will hear us preaching constantly that nutrition is the foundation of good health. And so if good health is the means for you to get to where you're going to feel your best, then you want to focus on the things that make you feel good. And that's food. And so I would just tell your family members, like, look, I'm just trying to fuel my body in the best way that I can, learn what my body likes, what it doesn't like, and how I feel the best. And honestly, there's no room for argument, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I would just completely echo everything Haley just said. I think I talk to a lot of my clients, especially that have teen daughters, because they want to be really careful to not create this diet culture within their home. And I think that goes beyond just our kids, right? It can go to our family, to our friends, to whomever. And if we put the focus less on a diet, less on fat loss, less on a specific aesthetic goal, even though those goals are completely okay to have, and more on learning how to fuel your body and your brain, just like Haley said, and figuring out the foods that help you do that and the ratios that help you do that, and working with a coach so that you can feel your best. Yeah. You can't really, most people would be like, wow, that's really cool. If it's especially because it is visible, right? The weighing your food part, people will be like, why are you weighing your food? I years ago probably would have been like, oh my gosh, I will never weigh my food.
Totally.
And there's a reason for a season that we do that, because the specificity of knowing exactly what we're fueling our bodies with and the ratios that we need is what's going to help us really activate your metabolism as we take you through that reverse, so that we can very strategically increase your fuel week over week and get that metabolic threshold really, really revving before we ever consider a deficit. Mm-hmm. And I think other things that are really good to be able to share is that you're not in a deficit game. It's not about restriction. It is learning about how to fuel your body and your brain. And it is the brain change is super cool.
It is. So. And the other thing about weighing your food, you guys, honestly, I wish that I would have started weighing my food years and years ago. For one, then you know exactly how much you're eating, and that is power.
Yeah.
The very first time I ever tracked my food for that first week and I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm actually eating. I was
kind of my favorite.
Yeah,
with clients.
I was blown away. And I constantly, my clients are always like, I had no idea that I ate so much fat or carbs or protein or whatever it is. Or I had no idea I ate so little of X, Y, or Z. Like, you don't know until you actually start tracking, and weighing your food is the most accurate way to do that. And so if you are going to, pay a coach to take you through this macro journey, then being as specific as possible gives your coach the most information possible so that they can make the best decisions for your plan. So quick little side note, last night we were watching a music video, which is kind of funny. But anyway, the TV stayed on, and it was on like a YouTube channel, and there was this guy talking, and I can't remember his name. Asa would remember, but he was doing like one-armed pull-ups and talking about how he can eat pizza and all this stuff while losing weight and gaining muscle. And Asa's like, Mom, it's macros. He's totally talking about macros on there. My son is 17. And I was like, well, I don't know what he's talking about. We had it muted. I said, but, it may be so. And so anyway, it was really cute that my son, even though like he sees my husband and I like weighing our food and doing the things that we do, and we talk about it really openly with our kids, that he recognizes like you can eat what you want as long as it's within the boundaries of your macro plan, and you can still get to your goals and the gains that you want while still enjoying life and pizza if that's one of the things that you love. So anyway.
It is. But on the flip side of that, just because I have to say this every time we bring it up, we don't want our clients to feel like they are living a restricted lifestyle, because that does not lend to sustainability. But we talked about this on our client Zoom this morning too, that if you are in a season of struggle, physically, mentally, if you've plateaued, if you want more aggressive results, like, yes, you can fit in what you want. And if you hit your macros and you're consistent, you are going to see change. You will. However, inflammation does play a role, and the types of foods that you fuel your body with do play a role. So that's just taking it a step further, right? Yep. Our clients don't have to do that, but one of the areas that we love to educate our clients on is the role of inflammation. There's 5 categories. We've done a ton of lives about it. We could actually add some categories to this, but for the most part, it's going to be grains, dairy, sugar, seed oils, and alcohol. And if you're open to it, at least evaluating, and that's where tracking your food for a season really lets you see where those things come into play. Yeah. If you're open to looking at starting to minimize, eliminate, replace some of those foods, it can make a huge difference. But it doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach at all. It just comes down to education and those slow habitual changes.
And it doesn't have to be forever. This weekend, I tend to eat pretty clean. We try to, stick to the main food groups, and I don't do gluten or very many grains at all for that matter. But like this weekend, my kids had a social engagement with their ski team at a pizza parlor, and I had a piece of pizza. And you just have to weigh it out. You have to ask yourself, is it worth it? It might not be worth it to you. Maybe you are really strictly non-dairy, and that's how your body feels the best. And then so indulging in something with dairy might not be worth it to you. But it doesn't mean that if you do have yeah, her body's wanting to digest. Her stomach is so loud, you guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can, it doesn't have to be an indulgence. It can be, just like a little treat here or there. If pizza is that for you, or dairy, or whatever it is. Like, it doesn't mean like if you eliminate this food group, let's say you eliminate grains and you go and you have a piece of pizza, that you have like failed yourself. Not at all. You just ask yourself, is it worth it to me? And if it is, great. And if it's not, fine. We talk about this all the time. There's
moderation.
Yeah, no food shaming. Like, if you make a choice, like you are an adult, hopefully, and you have made a decision, and you just move on from that. And I had a piece of pizza, and I didn't guilt myself. I didn't shame myself. I didn't like punish myself for it. In fact, I really enjoyed it. And that was it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do want to just say one thing about the digestion, because we're going to get into this with tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system. One of the things that comes from that is digestion. And I notice when I'm relaxed, like when I'm sitting next to Haley, when I'm snuggled up, like
when we're in
like
a couples massage.
Which we have. My digestion really starts going, and that's how I know I'm really relaxed. And so we're going to actually talk about that because improved digestion is one of the things that comes from really allowing yourself to tap into that parasympathetic and to relax. Yeah. It's called rest and digest, right?
Right.
So let's jump in.
Let's do it. Let's talk about rest and recovery, you guys. We live in a society and a culture, especially if you are in like the exercise world, if you tend to exercise regularly. Sorry. We are in a time when we don't value rest and recovery. In fact, oftentimes we look on it poorly. Like, oh my gosh, that person's so lazy. They're taking a day off. I can't believe that. And that's not what we're talking about. Rest and recovery is absolutely essential to overall health and well-being. And we're going to dive into why, but it is good for your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health, including those people who are wanting to put on muscle and gain muscle. Like, you have to allow your body to rest in order to do that. And we'll get into the ins and outs of that also.
And this doesn't, I think this speaks to some more than others, right? Because if you are a fairly sedentary person and you are just starting to move your body more, we absolutely want you to do that. I think that some people think of rest and recovery as just like sitting on the couch or having a day of doing nothing. And that's not necessarily what it is. Some low intensity, steady state movement every single day is actually really important. Yeah. But for those of you that are killing it thinking that you have to go like balls to the wall every single day, 7 days a week, you're actually overtaxing your nervous system, and you're not even giving your muscles the opportunity to repair themselves to that then lends to building muscle, which we want muscle because muscle burns more calories at rest than fat.
Yeah.
We want muscle for a lot of reasons, but if we're talking about metabolism, that's how it really ties in. Mm-hmm. And so we'll talk about the specifics, like what does, and rest and recovery, they look different for everybody.
Yeah. Let's dive into that really quickly. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
It's going to be too noisy.
Scout, Emmy's youngest, just popped in, and he's wanting to open his Lego bags. Go ahead, do it quick.
You got it. You got it.
You can do it. No. Okay, never mind. So let's talk about that for a minute. If you are somebody who is trying to build muscle, what happens when you're in the gym and you are lifting heavy weights is you are actually breaking down the muscle tissue that you already have. That's why you're sore the next day, because you've made these little micro tears in your muscles. Now, those micro tears heal when you are resting, when you're sleeping, when you are not using that muscle. That's when those muscle fibers are able to heal and repair themselves and then to get stronger and bigger, right? So without proper rest and recovery from lifting weights and trying to build those muscles, you're going to be in a constant state of debilitation. What's that word?
A constant state of...
You're going to be in a constant state of like muscle breakdown is what it's going to be. And you're not allowing your body enough time to repair and recover those muscles. So if you Google like a weight training schedule, there is built-in rest and recovery days. You don't work the same muscle every single day of the week. Otherwise, that muscle is not going to be able to build itself stronger. So you have to create that time. And it's really important. And not just that, but it is like crucial for your mental health to allow your body to have a little bit of downtime. And that looks different for every single person. Yeah. Like my downtime looks different from Emmy's downtime, looks different from anybody else's downtime. And it's really specific to you. But really what we're talking about when we get into like rest and recovery is what do you do outside of your regular schedule that is specific to improving your mental health, in a lot of ways, improving your physical health and your emotional health within the boundaries of rest and recovery.
Yeah. And I would say, even though first and foremost, from a foundational standpoint of health, we really want to help our clients dial in their nutrition, like that is going to be 80% plus of their success. Once we've done that or have them on the road, because we don't want to throw too much at them at one time, we then do want them moving their body. If they're fairly sedentary, we are going to ask them to work up to and then surpass, not overnight, 10,000 steps a day. And that's just low intensity, steady state movement. And that can actually be a form of recovery for a lot of people. Yeah. And so we're not saying don't move every day. Also, don't go from 0 to 60 overnight. But so there is that. Now, when you take it beyond that and you have the person that is really physically taxing themselves, let's say they're doing like HIIT style workouts, training for a marathon, doing some form of resistance training daily, maybe they're doing things like sauna and cold plunging and all of those things on top of it. Well, all of those things are really good in and of themselves, right? But if you are doing too much, too frequently, you're going to overtax your nervous system, and it's actually going to create a lot bigger stress load on your body and your brain and your organs and your hormones and your metabolism and all of the things. And then you're not allowing yourself to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and our digest, which is where a lot of the repair happens. The biggest place, like the best form of rest, recovery, cell recovery, cleaning our bodies out, all of the things is going to be our sleep. So we're going to talk about things that we can do during the day for sure, and we need to be aware of that. We're going to talk about training schedules, all of the things, but the number one thing you can do for your nervous system and for your ability to utilize like the superpowers of your parasympathetic nervous system is going to be your sleep.
Yeah.
Most people, not everybody, but most people need somewhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. And we've talked a ton on sleep, but I think that because this is a subject we're talking about today, we really need to touch back on it. And within that sleep, it's not just a matter of being in bed for 7 to 9 hours. It's what is the quality of your sleep in that time? How efficient of a sleeper are you? How much deep sleep are you getting? How much REM sleep are you getting? How many times are you waking during the night? Are you restless? What's your respiratory rate look like? Are you able to fall asleep fast? Are you able to stay asleep? Haley and I both wear these Oura rings. I'm not flipping you off. Sorry. You have yours on your pointer finger.
That way I'm never flipping people off.
Oh, that's good. And so it's so cool to be able to look at the data because it does show our latency, the time. The time it takes you to fall asleep. It shows us how much deep sleep we're getting, which is typically at the beginning stages of your sleep cycle. It shows us how much REM sleep, how much light sleep. Are we waking? What is our resting heart rate? What is
How's
our
your
respiratory
breathing?
rate?
Is your breathing regularity,
Yeah.
your temperature? It tells you so much information about your sleep. And it's like, it's gold. I feel like that information is gold.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, and Emmy's a little bit different than me. Although I've been switching a little bit. Like she'll wake up and then look at her sleep data, but I'm a little bit superstitious. And so I don't want my sleep data to influence how I feel. And so like sometimes I get nervous. Like I wake up and I'm like, oh man, I feel like $1,000,000. And then I'm like, but what if my sleep data says that I slept poorly? I don't want that to then influence how I feel. So I'll often wait until the evening time to look at my sleep data from the night before.
So then you can make changes too.
Yeah.
Like don't just have data to have data. Have data to actually utilize it to help you make educated decisions on how to improve.
Yeah.
And so just like a handful of things, because we won't make this whole thing about sleep, but sleep is so critical. Even if you don't have a fancy Oura ring, like there are things that you can do to help improve the quality of your sleep. Now, when I am in a good place where I am stress resilient and I am doing all the things, I'm an efficient sleeper, meaning I don't need as much time in my bed to be able to get adequate amounts of deep sleep and REM sleep. If I am in a higher stress season and I'm not sleeping as good, because stress has the biggest impact on my sleep, then I oftentimes need more sleep because the quality of my sleep is not as good.
Yeah.
We have on the toolbox of our website, macromavens.life, you go to toolbox and there's tons of tools there, but one is called deep and restorative sleep. And we are in love with this, you guys. We use it with our clients all the time because there are some simple things we can all do to naturally help improve our sleep. If you're doing all of those things and you're still struggling, that's where we say consider supplementing. And we have Super Sleep, which is phenomenal and back in stock, and I'm obsessed with it, and it shows in our data.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
But just really quickly, let's just rattle off some of the things that you can do to improve your sleep, because that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck in rest and recovery.
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, we live in a very technological and electronic age, but putting your phone away at least 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed, whether it's your phone, your iPad, your TV, whatever it is, if you can put it away a couple hours before you go to bed, that alone should change your sleep, because the blue light, even if you wear blue light glasses, the stimulus that we get from our screens is so much for our brains to process that it's hard for our brains to wind down when it is time to go to bed. I've been trying to put my phone away and like pick up a book, like a real book, like to actually pick up a book and turn the pages and read it for like 20-30 minutes before I go to bed. And honestly, it makes me fall asleep quicker. I fall asleep much faster than when I'm on my screen surfing the internet, watching Instagram, whatever it is, watching YouTube videos.
Music videos last night.
Yeah, well, that was long before bedtime.
Yeah.
But so putting your phones away, also like be done eating and drinking a couple of hours before you go to bed, so that your body has already started the digestive process. So you don't want to be digesting all of your food while you're sleeping. That can cause disturbances in your sleep. Also, prepare your environment, you guys. Have your room nice and cold. People tend to sleep better in a chillier environment. You know, people in like in the far north, in like Norway, they sleep with their windows cracked open.
I sleep with my window cracked.
Yeah, I love that. I love feeling that fresh air. But like people in the far north, like where it's like zero, below zero, and it's nighttime all the time. Brr, when it's really cold, they sleep with their windows cracked, and they tend to have better sleep than Americans. So yeah, there's just a lot of little things you can do like that. What else, Em?
Yeah, a dark room. I don't think that was mentioned, but having a nice dark space where there's not any, even an alarm clock sometimes, you guys, if you can turn it the other way so it doesn't like shed that light on you. Removing electronics. This one is, you know, there's a lot more information coming out on it, but consider turning your wireless off at night. Like it can have an effect, or you can use a grounding mat. You can use a chili pad. Like there's a number of things you can do, but most of these things you can do for free and super simply. The other thing is if you struggle with racing brain, like especially if you might not struggle with going to sleep, but you struggle with waking up and then having a racing brain, everything seems like such a bigger deal in the middle of the night. And so going to bed with a plan, like really just taking a couple minutes before you go to bed, have a notepad by your bed and just write out a plan for the next day, or maybe like some things that are top of mind and a solution, or a plan to make a solution the next day. It can be as simple as that, so that when you do wake up, it's not as big of a deal. And then also going to bed with a grateful heart can make a huge difference in how your body is able to relax. Like there are studies, we talk about gratitude all the time, and it's not just because it's a feel-good thing. Like gratitude lends to better health. It just does. And so going to bed with a grateful heart. Also, connecting with your partner if you can. Like that can actually really help you get into a deeper sleep faster. It doesn't always work for everybody's schedules, but like that is something that has been shown to like really make a difference. And so having an inviting bedroom, having, you know, not having TVs in your room, having it dark, having it cold, you know, having pre-digested your food, like all of those things make a huge difference for the quality of your sleep. Also, this is unpopular for some people, to each their own, but removing things like pets or, you know, like
Children.
anything that's going to wake you up in the middle of the night. If you have any control over that, can really make a difference. Like you can be a better human for those pets and people.
Or children. And then finally, the last thing, you know, last case scenario, or if you really do just want to improve the quality of your sleep, taking a supplement. You know, a supplement is just that. It is something that is supplementing the things that you are already doing. So if you're already doing all of the things and your sleep is fantastic, well, bless you. That is awesome. But if you do need a little bit of an extra boost to help you get a little bit better quality of sleep, then we do have a supplement called Super Sleep. And it really, you guys, it is really good. And I know that we say this all the time, and of course we would, because there are products, but like we created this product, this Super Sleep, with all of the things that we truly believe would help people to not only sleep well, but to balance their cortisol levels so that they are properly where they should be throughout the night. So if you're interested in that,
It's where dreams come true.
It's where dreams come true, guys. Yeah. We will put a link in the show notes for Super Sleep. You can also go to macromavens.life, and it is in the shop page, and you can check it out there too.
You can read all about it.
But let's talk a little bit more, or a little bit, about the difference between sleep and rest, because I don't want people to think that, well, I'm getting good night's sleep, so that's plenty. Like I don't need any more rest. And I think that we can, like I said, we undervalue rest, and it doesn't have to take up a lot of your time, you guys. It doesn't have to be something where you're like, okay, it's time for me to rest, and I'm going to like take myself away from the scenario for 5 hours. That's not what we're talking about. Rest can really be like, go to your car for 5 minutes and do a breathing exercise. Or maybe you can step outside and go for a quick walk for a few minutes. Maybe it is hiding in your bathroom from your children for 3 minutes while you turn on the water and plug your ears and listen to a song, or whatever it looks like. But really what we're talking about when we talk about rest is you taking time specific for yourself, set apart to better your overall wellness.
Yeah.
For me, I love to get outside and go for a walk. I know Emmy does too. And so just setting aside some time to get outside, go for a walk feels really good.
Yep.
Or just sitting down. I have like with the Oura Ring, it comes with an app on your phone, and there's a lot of like 5, 6, 7 minute meditations, which is about all the bandwidth I can handle because I get bored. But like sitting down and like doing some breathing exercises or a quick meditation, or if you're a prayerful person, you can take that time to pray. And it really does just kind of like center you. And I don't know, it's like a little bit of a refresher for the day. And I feel like I can go back into the day refreshed, refocused, and re-energized to kind of get through the next few things.
Yeah. Let me just paint a picture for you guys that might resonate and it might not. If you are the sort of person that wakes up in the morning and jumps right into life, whatever that may look like, getting their kids ready for school, helping your family in whatever capacity, getting ready for work, jumping right into emails, getting on social, making meals.
You shouldn't get on social right away, guys. I'm just saying you shouldn't.
No. And then jumping in your car, dropping the kids off, or heading to the office and jumping right into work, or jumping back and home into work or homework or housework or whatever that may look like, and just going from one thing to the next, hopping on a call, taking care of this, taking care of that. And throughout the day, you also have the stressors of life. Maybe you had a hard conversation. Maybe you had a hard workout. Maybe you had a poor night's sleep. Maybe you had a combination of those things. And your heart rate is just kind of elevated throughout the day. And you're going, and you're going, and you're going. And it just kind of is just hanging out there. And you're just going through the motions of life. That consistent stress on our bodies, over time, it really starts to tax our nervous system. It starts to tax our adrenals. It starts to run havoc on our digestion, on our hormones. It's really what starts leading us down the path of degeneration in a lot of different ways, which also affects our ability to shed fat and affects our metabolism and affects our insulin response, like all of the things. And so it can be as simple as just recognizing and taking a few minutes at the start of your day, maybe in the middle of your morning. It doesn't have to be anything profound. Are the profound things fantastic? Absolutely. Like if you can go get a massage, or you can do a yoga class, or you can relax with a good book, like good on you, do it. But if you can take a couple minutes to do some deep breathing, if you can step outside and create a break or a lunch break or whatever it is, and even get like 10 minutes of walking in and get fresh air and sunshine on your face, all of those things are naturally going to bring your heart rate down. They're going to lower your blood pressure. They're going to increase your digestion. They're going to help with your natural hormone production, and they're going to lend to a calmer nervous system and a healthier foundation to do all the other things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but it's so easy to get in the grind and stay in the grind, and we are doing ourselves a disservice. And that's where oftentimes we start the process of cell mutation and moving towards disease, because we are just not allowing our bodies, not just our brain, like rest and recovery sounds great, but like we are talking about your cells recovering from like a cellular level. Yeah. And they need rest, and they need hydration, and they need love, which can come in the way of rest and recovery. It's not just sitting around. Like that's not what it is. It is truly allowing your body, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your nervous system to just relax.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's crucial, you guys. And like I said earlier in the beginning of this, is like we live in a society where we undervalue rest and recovery, and it doesn't have to be hard. If you have a very tight schedule in your day, try, whether it's like a couple minutes before lunch or whenever it works for you, schedule 5 minutes. Like we all waste 5 minutes during the day, like regardless of if you are getting up to get a drink of water out of the water cooler at work, if you are picking up your phone for social media, if you're spending an extra 20 seconds in the bathroom, whatever it is, everybody can spare probably 5 minutes to focus on resting. Yeah. And like we've mentioned it a bunch of times, if you are in a cubicle and you can just like shut your computer off, close your eyes, focus on your breathing for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to schedule it into your schedule or into your phone and remind yourself like,
Yeah.
oh, it's time for rest. 5 minutes. It just doesn't take that much, you guys, and it really will make a huge difference in the long run for you.
Yeah, it's huge.
Try it.
So let's actually, I think we hit on most of these, but some forms of rest and recovery that you can jump into would be mild exercise. So like a walk. Like, yes, that's exercise, but something that is not spiking your heart rate really high, that is actually restorative to you. Like walking for me is very restorative.
Especially
to me.
outside in nature and fresh air.
Fresh air and getting sunshine on your skin. If you can get first of the morning sunshine on your skin, you are winning at life.
Amen.
Meditation and prayer. Like, you know, if you're a prayerful person, like spending your time there, or meditation, like allowing yourself that space to think about your thinking can sometimes just be that relaxation. Like even now, evaluate yourself. Like, is your jaw tense? Are your shoulders pulled up? Like, are your hands a little bit tense? Like, just go through and like relax your jaw and relax your shoulders and relax, like not your posture per se, but relax your hips, wiggle your toes, relax those. Like, you just took a step. My stomach just digested. You just took a step in moving towards feeding your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is where our rest and our digest occurs. And we need to be able to be aware of how to tap into that. And it does look a little bit different for everybody. Yoga for some people can be very restorative. Breathing, we did a whole live on breathing with Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah.
And maybe we'll reshare that. We've also done some stories, but like understanding the art and the power of your breath. We all breathe, but if we can actually learn to recognize and utilize our breath and know how to belly breathe versus chest breathe, and know how to use our nasal breath and know how to like count that out, breath is really powerful. Even just learning to box breathe can help you get to sleep faster. It can help you in the moment in stressful situations. It makes a huge difference for my oldest. Another thing you can do is like tight squeeze and then relax and then breathe. And it just immediately relaxes your body and your brain. When you're getting ready to have a hard conversation, to make a big decision, any of those things, doing a few of those little things ahead of time can be super, super duper powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Nature. We talked about nature, but even if you're not a nature person, like just getting outside can be so powerful.
Yeah, you don't have to like drive to the mountains, you guys.
Yeah.
If you live in a neighborhood, just go outside.
Yeah.
Go in your backyard, go in your front yard, go for a walk down the sidewalk. Just get outside. Breathe that fresh air.
We talked about sleep a lot. Things like massage or, for me, acupuncture is not relaxing, but for some people it is.
I really enjoy acupuncture.
Yeah.
I enjoy
any type
it
of body work.
When you get the needles poked in you and then the acupuncturist walks away and lets you sit in that.
Yeah.
Man, I can really relax.
You can really relax into that. Any type of body work can oftentimes also be super stimulating for your nervous system and help it relax, even like an adjustment, something of that sort. And then you guys, of course, good nutrition. Like it does come back.
What?
I mean, can you believe it?
No.
And I know that like, it's like, well, food, like how you fuel your body affects your nervous system. And, you know, it's more apparent in some than not. One of my kiddos, like, depending on what they eat, very much comes out in how their nervous system reacts, even in terms of how they move and how their brain works and all of the things. And it really taught me early on what an impact nutrition has on cognitive function and on your nervous system's ability to properly regulate itself. And so understanding the role of food and fueling yourself and not allowing you to have a dysregulated blood sugar can make a huge difference on your nervous system and your ability to tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is so important.
It is. All right, let's flip it. Let's talk.
Okay.
We've talked about rest. We've talked about recovery. We've talked a lot about sleep. And we're going to flip the script a little bit. And now we're going to talk just for a few minutes, just real briefly, about why it's important to be uncomfortable and why we should all kind of strive to be uncomfortable in a safe way, as often as possible.
Yeah. Did you know that when you're uncomfortable, you're likely to be more engaged? Did you know that when you're uncomfortable, you're likely to have more self-motivation?
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah.
Did
that
you
makes a lot of
know
sense,
that when
actually.
you're uncomfortable, you are likely to make more progress minute over minute, hour over hour, day over day?
Yeah, because you want to get out of that discomfort if that's the goal, right?
When is the last time you've allowed yourself to be super vulnerable and uncomfortable, and what came out of it?
Well, because oftentimes, are you asking me that question?
Sure,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I want to answer that question, but
Do it.
well, I think that what happens for me is when I allow myself to be uncomfortable, because there's different. That means different things to different people. So, like, if I think about in the gym, getting uncomfortable in the gym, like lifting heavy weights, it's easy for me to go there, because the payoff feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's part of what you mentioned about, like, the self-discipline, like you're able to be more disciplined in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes easily for me in the gym. It's easy to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, where it becomes more difficult is like in relationships. And if you're going to have like an uncomfortable conversation with somebody that you're not looking forward to, that feels much different to me than like purposefully getting uncomfortable in the gym. So like, if I know I'm going to have an uncomfortable conversation with my kids, I tend to be a little bit more stressed out about it. However, when I'm willing to go there and I have the tools to get through it and for us to like work through whatever scenario and situation it is, I feel so much more empowered on the backside, as long as like everything gets dealt with. So stress has a cycle, right? You want to finish the stress cycle. So stress will start somewhere. Let's say, okay, let's use yesterday for an example. My kids went skiing. They had ski training yesterday, and my daughter texted me when they were done, and she's like, I need to come home, but Asa doesn't want to leave. What do I do? And so I texted my son. I was like, hey, it's time for you guys to come home. I know you're done skiing. Head home. Partway down the mountain, I get a text, and it's my son, and he says, you and me and B, that's my daughter, the three of us need to have a talk when we get home. And I was like, uh-oh, I wonder what happened on the drive. And so anyway, they get home, and I said, hey, I got a text from Berkeley saying you wouldn't leave. And then I get a text from you saying the three of us need to talk. I said, what happened? And anyway, so they had a stressful encounter. One of them wanted to leave the mountain. The other one didn't. They ended up having a conversation, which probably looked differently than how I have it envisioned in my mind in the car. But they wrapped it up. And so when at the end of the day, I was like, okay, let's have a talk. And both of them were like, no, we don't need to. We worked it out. So the stressful situation had to start. It had a complete revolution, and it had an ending to where the stress was relieved and they were able to solve the problem. And that's what we all want, right? Whether it's an uncomfortable situation that you get yourself into on purposely, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's putting yourself,
we cold plunged this morning.
Yeah, putting yourself in a situation that is outside of let's say you're going skiing to stay on the skiing. It's wintertime. Let's say you're skiing a run that is above your ability that you think, and that's uncomfortable, but you're going to push through it. It's stressful, right? But it comes full circle. You go through it, you finish the run, and you are a better skier on the other side of it. So I think that for me, if I know there's growth on the other end, then I'm much more likely to go into that situation with the right attitude.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think that sometimes we don't allow ourselves the growth that we could otherwise have unless we get ourselves into that uncomfortable zone. Whether it is pushing ourselves to reach that next level professionally, whether it is getting uncomfortable and lifting heavier in the gym so that we can actually build the muscle that we want to, whether it is taking a season to really learn about nutrition and get out of your comfort zone and trying things and following a script so that you can really use the science behind activating your metabolism, whether it is signing up for something. I put a box up the other day in stories when I was asking this question, and one of the people said that they've always wanted to do voice lessons, and they signed up for voice lessons, and like they're really excited. And let's see, what were some of the others? It doesn't have to be like, it's just what is uncomfortable for you that is going to allow you to move in the direction that you want to go. Like, get there.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of failure. Like, I will say that in life, I have let the fear of failure hold me back some. And in those times that I reduced or allowed myself to be vulnerable to the opportunity of failure has been some of my biggest seasons of growth.
Yeah, because, well, failure is really where growth takes place, right?
Yeah.
We get the most amount of growth when we try and we fail. But it's scary to take risks.
It is.
It is. It's not necessarily natural for us to take risks and to get into our uncomfortable zone.
Yeah.
But it is really necessary, and that can be really scary. But just know that, like, on the flip side, on the back side of it is usually greatness, whether it's just learning that you have learned a few things on the back end of it, or you actually have grown and improved and increased your tolerance or your abilities or whatever that looks like. Maybe just your muscles have increased.
Yeah.
There's almost always growth on the backside of discomfort. And that gives me a lot of hope, especially when, life is messy and discomfort is inevitable. So if you can go into it with the proper mindset of knowing that it is an opportunity to grow and to change and to improve, then hopefully you can have a little bit of a better outlook on it when you're heading into an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Whether it's chosen or not.
So our challenge this week for you guys and for ourselves is twofold. It is to identify ways that you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system more, going back through that list and adding some of those into your day in a more strategic way. And it's also asking yourself the question, like, what is it that you can do to allow yourself to be a little bit more uncomfortable that's going to elicit growth? And go there. And don't be afraid to fail. And let us know. Like, we would love to hear about it. And
it could be silly. Like, maybe it's going for a walk when the weather sucks. Like, maybe it's pouring down rain where you live. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk anyway because I know it's good for my body. And find a little bit of joy in that. Because honestly, like, I love walking in the rain.
Yeah.
You feel alive.
Oh, man. It is. I used to not walk when it was raining out. And now I do because I'm like, oh, my gosh. And it's some of my favorite times.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, like kick that failure out of the way, like the fear of failure out of the way. I don't know. Okay, you guys. So if you have questions, if you are looking to partner with somebody that can really help you on your health journey, we are here for you. Like we are so thankful for our community of clients, and they are killing it. You can go to macromavens.life. You can click the hop on board button. It does not commit you to anything, but it does allow us to reach out, connect, answer questions, see if we're a good fit. And man, we can get you on that path, and like the future, like possibility is endless. Oh, man. So let us know if we can help. We hope you have a fantastic week.
Have a great week, you guys, and we will catch you on the next go round.
We have a fun one coming next week.
Oh yes, we do. You're gonna want to be here for that. So
all right,
come back.
Come back. We'll see you guys later. Bye. Have a great day.